Welcome to the show. My name is Anton Farrow. I'm a CrossFit level 3 coach. I started Blue House Fitness 10 years ago in my garage as an experiment. I also co-founded an agency called Common. We work with brands such as On, Nike, Adidas, and so on. I'm also an avid lover of building staircases. I'm secretly very good at musical theater, and I will probably take your money at a poker table. CrossFit's biggest miss is that they've been telling people that it's a methodology and a sport. We want to continue the conversation from last week about CrossFit as a sport versus a methodology. Imagine basketball being trademarked as a movement methodology. Doesn't make any sense. So last time I talked about how I think CrossFit messed up, which is this constant language of we're both things. We're a movement methodology and we're a sport. And today I want to talk about how to fix that. So last time we talked about how CrossFit is always balancing these two things, that we're a sport and a methodology, and it doesn't work. And today we're going to talk about how to fix that and how we at Blue House are trying to implement things to make the experience as an athlete better. I think one thing that's really interesting is that the OG founder of CrossFit always said that everybody wants the methodology. He said that the sport made no money and that even when he sold the company, they just wanted the training methodology, like all the level 1s and level 2s and all these things, and nobody wanted anything to do with the sport. But what's ironic is how in the world did people find out about CrossFit? I watched the 2016 CrossFit Games and I saw Rich Froning on ESPN and I was like, damn, I kind of want to try this. I didn't have somebody stop me on the street and go, CrossFit? You never heard of CrossFit? It's constantly varied functional movements at high intensity. It's so good. You got to come try it. I would have never tried it. I had to see somebody do it and I had to see what it did to them. What about you, Madeline? How did you find out? Did you just run into somebody? Did you just accidentally go to a level 1?
I just walked into a level 1 seminar and they're like, yeah, you can do it. I just joined a CrossFit gym because I needed to work out. After I joined the gym, of course, I looked it up. And then what do you find on YouTube is all those old videos of people like Rich Froning doing snatches and ring muscle ups. And you're like, dang, I want to do that too.
Without the sport, what are you doing?
What's the point?
I'm trying to just imagine. I get the whole concept of this is just so you live longer. I just don't think that's enough for people. I still think they kind of just wake up 6 months later, 2 years later, and they're like, why am I still doing this?
Yeah, even if they say they don't need to be competitive or want to be a sport, there's always a goal somewhere.
Tell me something in life where you do it with the goal of not improving. Is there anything, honestly?
No, there's nothing.
Why do you do stuff? Isn't there always a goal to try to get better? Level up?
Move up, yeah.
I really think that CrossFit just promoting themselves as both has just really messed it up. I don't think people quite realize it. It's so confusing. They don't really know what it is. And so we really think if CrossFit focuses on the sport aspect, everything else starts to fall in line. And that's what we're unpacking a little bit today is, what if you did look at it like that? What would it do for your gym? What would it do for your training? What would it do for your longevity of training? It's kind of interesting to see some of the results from the World Fitness Project, because you had some of these really good athletes just do the CrossFit Games and now they're doing another comp. And the order was kind of all over the place. And I think it's a very good indicator that people cannot compete like this.
It's too much.
Week after week.
There was a few athletes though that didn't compete, and I think that's smart. Why would you do another competition?
I think we're going to see less athletes throw down. I think you might have to pick it's
just too much
organization you want to compete with. Even if you listen to other sports, I've heard multiple athletes say, can we cut back on the games that we have each year?
Because they want to practice. They want to train to get better.
Yeah, and you can't just keep playing. So here's where I think a lot of confusion is. For a lot of people, there's no seasons. We don't know what we're doing, when we're doing it, why we're doing it. Is there a goal in the future? We have none of that. We have to kind of make it up on our own, especially in a lot of CrossFit affiliates now. We don't have any targets. Even in some programming for class, you might have goals in mind, but it's still way not specific enough to hit those goals. And we're over competing and we're overtraining. And so it's leading to burnout, injuries. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've seen a lot of people come and go, and a lot of it is connected to feeling too much fatigue. And I think early on I used to go, really, why are you feeling that tired? Like, you got to just fight through that. And then like over time, I actually think it's true. Depending on how much fitness you've done and how much intensity you've done, if you've had no experience and you just come into intensity, you will be wrecked. And we have to give people a slower trajectory towards a distant horizon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounded like Marina over there.
Let me just drop this on you really quickly. If you do not know when you're peaking, then you're overtraining. If you have no idea when is the time that you need to be at your best, when is that for you? If you know anything about peaking, I think climbing a mountain is a great example of this. Andrew Leslie, a good friend of mine, just climbed Mount Everest last year, and he said there's this area called the death zone, which is when you pass 8,000 meters and you're about to summit, and you can only spend a few hours up there before you just start dying. And I think it's a good example of that's the peak. You can only go up to the peak for a small amount of time before you have to come back down. If you stay up there too long, you die.
Die as in like burn out and not want to do it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess you could really hurt yourself. Think about that. Be your best for this small amount of time and then come back down the mountain and get healthy and strong and mentally clear and just dialed in. Cortisol down, everything down. I really think gyms need to get away from selling classes. I think we really have to broaden our horizons if we want to train like this and think a lot bigger. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. So let's talk about the sport model versus maybe the classic CrossFit model. Okay. So in a sport model, we would have tests, we would have seasons, we would have skill blocks, and everything would be around the test, right? So we would have off season. We would then go into pre-season. Hello, it's a thing in other sports. And then you would be in season, and we would train accordingly. And you would have a coach that is kind of helping you walk through that process. When you're off season, it's a lot more chill. Maybe you're even wearing chiller outfits you work out in. You're just chilling out a little bit. Maybe you take extra days off and you work on some of these things that you're deficient in, and then you kind of work your way up. But instead, this program model, it's all about novelty, all about vibes. How's the vibes? How many times have I been in a gym where it's like, how's the vibes today, everybody? Oh, the vibes were good. Vibes are great, but that is not the most important thing. And randomness, right? Because we're thinking of CrossFit more as a program.
Yeah.
Or like this fitness program instead of a sport. In sports, amateurs and pros, if you're an amateur, your goal is to kind of train like a pro in your scaled way. You know, you still want to learn what the pros do and implement that in your own way and get a little bit better. It's not just random. It's not, and I think one thing that probably has been a big deterrent for a lot of people is the novelty. We get really caught up in like, ooh, that was so different. And that's, at least from what I think is important, is that is great in a test. It's okay to have some novelty in a test where we can see what people are capable of, but not in training. I'm just trying to imagine in golf, it's like, hey, you know what? Let's practice like hitting backwards with our opposite hand, one eye closed. Oh, wow, they're so good at that. It's like,
Why?
It doesn't matter.
No.
It does. I honestly don't care. And this goes back to like, if we really understand CrossFit as a sport, you have to be able to squat. Like that is something I talk about a lot. So squat a lot. It doesn't need to be novel. It doesn't need bands. It doesn't need all this weird shit. You just need to squat. And if you do that, you'll be quite surprised on how good you are at novel stuff. Make me do a pistol with a kettlebell like they did at the games. Kind of stupid and novel. But if you're good at squatting, that was probably easy. I think here's the fix, because I said that's what we're going to talk about today. The fix is we need a testing calendar. Everybody needs to understand when they're testing and what they're trying to improve at. We have a new member. Her name is Valerie, that Maddie's been working with. And like, it's really cool. Every time I talk to Valerie just came into our gym right into personal programming, is kind of already doing this. And we definitely have probably close to a quarter of the gym already doing this. And Valerie's like, I'm improving. every week. She's just kind of you could see that she's just training.
She's getting so much better because it's consistent. She told me today, she said the last time she did CrossFit, which was years ago, she did it for 2 years, and she was like, I did not progress nearly as much as I am right now, and I've only been here for 5 months.
Yeah.
She's doing the same thing every week, more weight, a little bit more time on the intervals, and she's getting so much better.
Yeah, it's awesome. We need a testing calendar. We need quarterly anchors. We need to have those things that we're checking in on quarterly, but we got to have those 2 or 3 tests that we're doing every year. Everybody needs this. We need to have a seasonal structure. So we need to have off-season, preseason, end season. Everybody should have that. I'm telling you, if you've never experienced that, it's so good. It's lulls, and then it's intense, and you back off, and it's a really nice feeling. You don't have to feel like you're always on. We need lanes, meaning like, where are you? Are you a beginner or a rookie? Maybe that's kind of a fun language because that's kind of like sport language. And then maybe you're like, if you think of it in sports, it'd be like there's a club level, there's a professional level. Like, where are you at? And it's kind of cool because if you have that, like, we really look up to the pros. Just like if you were at a bodybuilding gym, there'd be IFBB pros that everybody would be trying to learn from to be like, and or any sport. And I think we have a little bit of that here. I mean, we have some really good athletes now and some new. I think that's really fun. We need to have scoreboard, but again, not all the time. It's not just about winning. It's about measuring the progress.
Like a personal scoreboard.
Yeah,
I guess
you have to have
better.
scoreboards. You have to know where your squat's going. There's certain things that are really important, and that's why we have a athlete profile, and that's really what it is. That's kind of your scoreboard. What I'm excited about, and what we're kind of implementing, is like coach ops, meaning coaches don't just manage classes, they manage athlete files. Let's talk about a few objections. I just want to do fitness. I don't want to compete. You do compete. Okay. You have steps on your freaking watch. You have a Strava. How hard did you sweat in the workout? You're constantly competing. I've also heard this a lot. I'm not good enough for a sport, or I'm not good enough to compete. T-ball is still baseball. Just because you're doing a less hard version of baseball, you're still
scaled baseball,
playing a sport. You're still competing. It has nothing to do with you're fit enough or not. I think this is another one that's big. What about, I don't want to lose community?
Community is amazing. Like, there's people around you, but it's not really why you're here.
Community is awesome. And it is something that bonds a lot of us in the gym. But I'll tell you what, I've seen a lot of people really bonded by community that move on because they're burned out. They're not getting results. And at the end of the day, community is great, but it's not why they're here.
Yeah, you got to be.
It's not why you're here. Yeah, it's for you. At the end of the day, people are going to go to where they get the results they want.
Yeah, and if you meet people along the way, that's great.
That's great.
And then you have friends, you can kind of train with them.
My big idea here is that we introduce the concept of training partners. I think training partners are so much better than random partners or even in group fitness, because you start to train with somebody that really starts to know you and that can push you. Sometimes it's really good if it's somebody that's on like a similar track to you or can push you when you need that. You definitely don't need it all the time, but when you do, it's just somebody that can kind of keep you going, give you that accountability that a lot of people think they get from group class. And so I would love to see more members at Blue House find their training partners. Last kind of thing I think I hear people say is, I'll get bored not having the novelty. Is that true though?
No.
From your experience? Because I started training you like this about 18 months ago.
Yeah.
And you had your thoughts.
I was not super excited. I was not into the bodybuilding and the lifting, and I never have been. I think things aren't going to get boring when you see progress.
It's unbelievable when you start to improve how fun it is. Like, wow, I'm really changing. Like, I'm really changing. Like, and I have more lean body mass. I can do more stuff in the gym. Even Dana today, I was ripping off chest to bars.
She was.
I've never done that. You could see it in her face. Dana has a very repetitive program right now, and she's always giving me crap. And I'm like, you got to repeat stuff enough to get good at it.
Yeah.
And that's a big shift, right? That's where the novelty and randomness is. It's really hard for people to kind of embrace like sameness.
You have to stick with it.
Yeah.
And then once you see the results, I promise it's not going to be boring.
So here's how I want to end today. I want to double down on the idea that we do love CrossFit.
Yes,
we are an affiliate. We will stay an affiliate, but we are an affiliate that is trying to improve at the sport. We're going to kind of live in that lane, and that's going to define how we train. Come January 2026, We want members to have a lane. Where are you? Like, what track are you on? We want quarterly testing, quarterly training blocks. 16-week blocks are really good length of time to see progress. We want coaches to manage athlete files and give you more freedom on how you train instead of having to kind of fill this time. Some of you might need to train longer. Some of you might need to train less. It just depends on where you are, what level you're at. And there needs to be a flow off season into preseason, into intensity. And we need deloads for longevity. You should be taking easy weeks every 5 or 6 weeks, which once you start doing that, that's a pretty dang good feeling too. And the body recovers. So we're going to continue to talk more about this and unpack this, but I believe that this is the future of creating a process where people can really grow and do this for the long haul. And again, this is not an idea because I like it or something. This is because I've seen what makes people better, and this is what makes people better. This is what makes you good. And so I'm offering the best practices that I've learned over a decade. And this is it. Hope you're on board, but yeah, it will continue to look a little different, and that's good. Evolution is a good thing. We want to continue to grow, and this is a way that us as a community can level up.